Hey guys, it's long overdue. I've been meaning to see this movie for a long time. It's been out in movie theaters since August, and it's Japan's highest grossing animated film ever, beating out Miyazaki's famous Ghibli film Spirited Away that came out in 2001 or something. This movie's been all over the place. I think it's getting a release in the States here really soon too. It's called Kimi no na wa in Japanese, or Your Name in English, and it's by a guy named Makoto Shinkai. And I've never seen any of the other works by Makoto Shinkai. I think he did 5 centimeters per second, another one called Garden of Words, which now after seeing this movie, Kimi no na wa, I have to go watch them now because this movie completely blew my expectations out of the water. I went down to my local movie theater, I took my bike down there, parked that guy, and walked through my station to go to my local film theater. And this movie, it's been out for 5 months, people have been talking all over the internet, and I had to see it. And it completely blew my expectations away. This is the best film that I've seen in a really, really, really long time. Whether that be animated, Japanese, Western release, or anything like that in a long time. This movie, spoke to me as someone who really likes Japan, and also someone who enjoys these kind of more romantic films as well. The movie's not, it's a romance, the movie's a romance, and I'm not a huge sucker for romantic movies, but it spoke to me on some levels. And if you've seen my my Valentine's Day video, you'll know that I'm in a long distance relationship. And this movie, while not explicitly about long distance relationships, had some elements from, long distance relationship in it. So it spoke to me on a very personal level, and I kind of wanted to talk about my feelings and my thoughts about this film, because it's amazing. This movie is freaking amazing, guys.
目が覚めるとなぜか泣いている。そういうことが時々ある。
So I wanna get into this thing too, that I'm not gonna talk about the specifics of the film, because I think if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. I'll give you my basic interpretations, or my basic thoughts about this film. And the first thing that hit me about this movie, one is that this movie is so pretty. This movie is so pretty. So I've been to Tokyo a couple dozen times in my time in Japan, and there's some scenes in this movie that look just like scenes from, not scenes, but look like places from Tokyo. And I think this movie primarily takes place, the Tokyo scenes primarily take place in and around Shinjuku. You can see the station in the film, and there's some little throwbacks or call-outs to parts of the city, parts of that district of Tokyo while you're there. And I'm thinking about actually going down to Tokyo and doing a Kimi no na wa in real life video. So if you guys think that would be cool, let me know if I should go do that. Cause it's impressive how realistic some of those scenes look. And as someone who's been there and was seeing that, without that, reading the kanji or knowing what those places were, I was I know those places. Taking a film like that and making it real life, but also having kind of these other more fantastic elements that anime is known for, to make it special, it was really, really cool. And to see kind of grounded in reality, a place Taki, the main character, Taki, the main male lead, lives here and hangs out here and works here and does these kind of things in this part of the city. It made it feel that more real and that much more relatable. So for the animation, and also the way that they did it in grounded it all in real life, really kind of blew me away. I hadn't seen another film or another anime like that, so that was really, really, really cool and well done. And just found myself wow, I wish I could draw that good. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could draw that good. So another thing I really liked about this movie, and I won't say too much about it because it's one of those things you should go and you should experience on your own. You should go and you should watch this movie and just get swept up in kind of the emotions around this movie. The elements of this movie, the human relationships and the human aspects of this film, they really get into. They really, really do. This is one of those movies that you don't come away from thinking too hard about. At least I didn't anyway. I didn't come out going yeah, the technical aspects of this film are blah, 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 blah. I came away from this film going, wow, I really felt the emotion in that film. I really felt what the characters were feeling. I walked away feeling this warmth and this closeness to the characters in this movie, to the locations of this movie, to wanting to watch this movie again and again and again, just to get that kind of warmth back. And after watching it the first time, I've watched it once or twice again, just in the last couple days since I've seen the film. And each and every time I come away going, yeah, this movie, it's resonating inside of me. It's bouncing around. I don't exactly know why it does that. I can't put words, or I can't write out a mathematical equation explaining these are the reasons why I feel this way. I just know that every time I walk away from this film, I'm Yes. Yes, absolutely yes. This movie is just, it's that. You're gonna watch this movie and you're gonna feel kind of you're just gonna feel the emotion hit you in your heart. And you're gonna walk away wanting to see it again and again and again. I completely would recommend this movie based on that alone. Any film that can inspire you to feel good afterwards, I think is a good film. So this movie is getting a lot of comparisons to Miyazaki, right? And part of that's because of the success of the film, but I think too, right, something that's not being touched on a lot when people are comparing Miyazaki's films to now Makoto Shinkai's films, they're comparing the success of Makoto Shinkai's film to Studio Ghibli's success. But I think it runs a little bit deeper than that, and while they do differ, I do think that part of the reason Makoto Shinkai's film works, other than the human relationships being so good, is that it plays on another aspect of Miyazaki's films, which I think are important for Miyazaki's films, especially in understanding him as a director, but also in understanding Makoto Shinkai's work, at least in this film. And that's the driving force of nature. Nature is not only an enemy in his films, right? Nature as something that resists human advancement, but something that also is very beautiful, and something that's worth protecting, and something that's very nostalgic to Miyazaki, right? And I think in Makoto Shinkai's film, we see that same way too, especially juxtaposed between Mitsuha's life in her village, like way outside of Tokyo, and then again in Taki's life in Tokyo. You can see the difference. And in the film, right, without spoiling too much, Mitsuha is always talking about how she wants to go to Tokyo, she wants to go to Tokyo. But by far the most nostalgic elements of this film, and where all of the conflict and the resolution of things take place, are back in nature, right? If you've seen the film, the enemy of this film is nature, right? The enemy of this film is nature, and also the spirituality of Japan, right? The natural religion of Japan, Shinto, ends up being in some ways like the savior of this film, the savior that, you know, protects Taki and Mitsuha and the rest of everyone else from, you know, the disaster, from the tragedy that befalls them. And so in a lot of ways this movie goes back, right? It kind of brings those nostalgic feelings of Japan back, which I think speak to a large core of Japanese people, in a way that maybe they don't realize, or maybe they don't even, you know, understand it's just part of their culture, you know. But as an outsider watching that and seeing those kind of practices unfold and having learned about those things in school, like, I can definitely see why Makoto Shinkai's films are as popular as they are, and giving those callbacks to Shintoism or to nature, as it relates to like Japan's history and mysticism, is like really, like, it's well done, and it's not overt, it's not preachy, it's just, it's there, it's present, and it's like a really important driving force that I noticed and I thought was really cool. And so something I'm seeing people not mention again, because it's, you know, like a lot of the reviewers on YouTube that are talking about this movie maybe don't speak Japanese too much, and I'm no perfect speaker of Japanese either, but as someone who studied it, like the cultural differences in language between like the masculine forms and the feminine forms, and also just the way that like Japan is, like this movie does a really good job of showcasing some of those things that you would be studying if you were taking Japanese culture classes. For instance, like, because it's, again, without spoiling too much, this was talked about in the very opening stages of the film, this is kind of a body swap film, right? Like, Taki wakes up in Mitsuha's body, and Mitsuha wakes up in Taki's body, and kind of like comedy ensues from that, and that's how they get to know each other. But seeing how they react to being in like a different gender's body is quite, it's really cool, right? You can see their mannerisms change, you can see the way that they speak changes, and you can see people's reactions to the way that they change, right? To the way that, like, now Taki's speaking in a feminine form, or the way that Taki is now, you know, when Mitsuha's in Taki's body, how his relationships with women change, how his relationships with men change, and then with Mitsuha too, how her relationships with men change and the people in her school changes when Taki is in her body. And so there's a lot of really cool like linguistic aspects of this film that are really cool to take a look at, as far as like the cultural aspects as well, right? Whether or not that be like Shinto aspects, like I touched on before, or just like cafe culture. You know, why are cafes such a big deal in Japan? Or the fascination with Tokyo in general from someone who lives outside in the middle of nowhere, like Mitsuha does. So there's some really cool aspects you can take from that film, and I think if you were to like write an essay or something like this for like a final for like your Japanese classes or something, like that'd be a really cool thing to touch on. So again, guys, so I'm gonna wrap this video up now. I hope you really enjoyed this kind of thing, me just talking about like a film or talking about a movie or doing whatever. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know and I'll try to like see a film and talk about it. The new Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale movie just came out in Japan, so I'm thinking about talking about that one too. If you'd be interested in seeing anything like that, let me know down in the comment section below. Give this video a like if you liked it and hit the subscribe button for more content coming soon. I really like doing this kind of thing where I just like talk to the camera about something that I'm interested in. So if you guys liked it, let me know. And I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I super duper appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. This is how you make a YouTube video. Drink some damn coffee so you can keep your freaking energy levels when you can talk so fast.